I would not read the supplementary material in the back of your textbook. If your video course summarizes the book anyway, and essentially your study book. So if you're using Wiley or whatever, basically what they've done is they've taken the standards or pronouncements and stuff like that, and they've summarized it for you for exam purposes. So there's really no reason to read pronouncements and things like that. I would instead of doing something like that, I would spend your time is much better spent working a ton of multiple choice questions. I am not a proponent of reading CPA exam textbooks, because what's the point of spending thousands of dollars on a review course if you have to read the book anyway? So if you have a good review course, they should take what's in the book and tell you what you need to know. You take notes, boom, done. So I would not read the textbook. If you still feel like you need to read the textbook after you've watched your instructor, then something's wrong. So either you need a new course, or you didn't follow the lesson or the instructor like you should have, and you need to focus more. But I mean, it's normal to watch a video and take notes, and then later on work questions, and you're like, man, I don't know this stuff. I mean, because an integral part of learning for purposes of passing the CPA exam is working a ton of questions. And when you first start out, like you study individual tax, well, there's a finite amount of information that your tax instructor can cover, and the rest of it, the little kinks, are worked out on your own by working multiple choice questions. But the short answer to the question is I do not recommend reading your book, because you need to be as efficient as possible. Watch the lectures, take notes, then do the multiple choice questions. Maybe watch a final video or a cram type product, and then boom, done, get in there. So don't read the book. I would not pair the ethics exam with your regulation studying, because the ethics material that is in any regulation review course, it's trimmed down to the point to where your instructor feels like this is what they're going to ask you on the exam. So you are trying to pass the CPA exam, so this is what you need to know. The ethics requirement is the material that you study for the ethics exam. It's a lot more broad and deep, and a lot more involved than what you're going to study for the regulation section of the CPA exam. And so it's kind of like, I would not do enrolled agent exam questions to study for tax. I would do CPA exam questions to study for tax. The same way, I would not study the ethics exam material for regulation. I would just study whatever your review course says, hey, this is what you need to know. Going through your review course and then getting to the multiple choice questions and getting like 50% of them right, you're like, that's pretty normal, because working multiple choice questions is just as much a part of the learning process as watching a video and taking notes. So you watch your lecture video, you take notes. Then on the application side for your multiple choice questions, you do the multiple choice questions and you take notes. And chances are, like the first 20 or so corporate tax questions that you do, you're not going to be as accurate as maybe the next 20, because as you work multiple choice questions, you start to see patterns. You're like, oh yeah, I mean, my instructor talked about that, but this is how it is for exam purposes. And the instructor discussed theory, but this exam question is talking application, and this is how you take the theory to application. This is what I need to know for the exam purpose for the exam. And so people freak out sometimes. They're like, I just did my first round of multiple choice questions and I only scored a 70%. That's actually pretty good for your first time around. I say that when you're heading into exam day, you need to be hitting about 70 to 80% accuracy on your multiple choice questions in order to be ready for the exam. And I found, and people have said this too, that oftentimes the questions on the CPA exam don't seem to be quite as hard as the questions that you're doing leading up to the exam, your practice multiple choice questions. And so the first time around, when you're working questions, I mean, there's only so many things about a topic that an instructor can say. And so you really need to do as many multiple choice questions as possible so that you understand the material to the point to where you can pass the CPA exam. So if you are doing poorly on questions starting out, don't worry about it. That's normal. Just keep going. Read every answer explanation, why the first question is right and why the other three are wrong. And because each CPA exam practice question presents 4 learning opportunities in that regard. So just keep going, just keep taking notes, just keep doing a ton of multiple choice questions. You'll be fine.